name of Billy Mitchell, to all of us who have only met him through documentaries, we think he's the Darth Vader of King of Kong. If anyone's seen King of Kong, their first impression is they like Steve Wiebe, just some dude in cargo shorts, bored in 2000 whatever, deciding he's going to try to break a record. And then we all, man, who's this dude in the black jeans and the mullet? He looks like he's portrayed as a very evil person in King of Kong. You did not care for that movie, right?
Well, I say that's a little more complicated. I actually met Seth, the producer of it or director of King of Kong when it premiered at the Dallas Film Festival, I think the AFI about 2 years ago. I've seen King of Kong about 3 or 4 times. First time I saw it, and I was shocked. I said, this is not the Billy Mitchell I know. Now, granted, Billy does live a little bit in the 80s, and he does take...
He might.
And he does take certain things, in my opinion, a little bit serious. Okay, you know, the whole video game thing. I never really took it that seriously. It was a fun thing, and it's over, and that's great.
It's still, from what he's portrayed on those movies, it's everything to him.
Yeah,
okay.
He still takes... He does. That is true. He does take that part serious, but... The part that I have an issue is that there was a lot of manipulation in King of Kong, in the sense that Billy is not evil. He has certain idiosyncrasies, and if you take 100 hours of film, you can make almost anyone look like Darth Vader.
Right.
And so there were when I saw it the second and third time, and talking many hours with Walter, we went over and realized that certain sequences were taken out of order, certain moments when he said something were deleted, which would have totally changed the impression.
Would have softened his stance on something.
Very much.
Sure.
One example was, I said to Walter, like, there was a scene where Billy sent in this video, and all of a sudden Walter immediately put it on the website as the new world record, even though Steve Wiebe had set a record.
Right.
And Walter said, yeah, I did that. He goes, what they didn't say is that after that, within one day, I took Billy's off because I realized that was not the correct decision, and Steve Wiebe had the record for over a year and a half.
Yeah,
and that didn't show up in the movie. It just showed that and by the way, I have never met Steve, and I think everything I've heard, he's a great guy.
Well, and it's a fascinating documentary. But documentaries, people think that that's always the truth. No, it's the truth from the filmmaker's point of view. It's very much a subjective piece. People, for some reason, see documentaries and say, "Oh, well, that's done about a real item. This must be an objective look at it." No, it's the filmmaker's spin on things, and he was trying to make his movie more compelling, so he jazzed things up. That's very common, really.
And Billy is really a family man and a successful businessman, and that was not shown because if you showed him with his children and family life, then all of a sudden people would say, "Oh, he's just like one of us."
That's not compelling.
No,
right? They want a bad guy. Here, can we play another cut from Chasing Ghosts, Dan? This is people discussing the legend of Ben Gold.
When young Ben Gold decides to take on a video game, he takes it on seriously. At 16, he has mastered some of the most complex games in the world.
Mythology surrounded Ben and what he did. The rumors were, hey, I heard that Ben had this special gurney made where he can lean back and still be able to work the controls. Even rumored that he would go into a semi kind of sleep.
Other guys would be talking smack or something. He would just get up and say, "No, you're wrong," and then show them.
What am I going to do? Walk around, hey, I am the cool and groovy, video game master. Do you want to touch me?
I thought he was the coolest guy ever.
So let's hear about this special gurney that...
so you're like Batman. You could slow your heart rate down, and you could actually sleep while playing.
A bit of a superhero.
Well, they interviewed, that was Kyle, who's one of my schoolmates, and so they came and spent... about the filmmakers. What's funny about Chasing Ghosts, it was Lincoln and Mike. We were the first persons that they visited. And so originally I said to them, okay, we're going to come on a Friday. And I'm thinking, okay, well, you guys come on Friday and we'll meet and maybe have breakfast on Saturday. And they said, no, we're going to stay till Monday. And I was like, excuse me, what do you want to do for these 3 days? I mean, I said I'm not like one of these reality TV stories. I said I've got at the time I have a wife, I'm married, I have one kid,
yeah,
I have a son, and a great family life. And I said it's not like I was surprised that they wanted to spend 3 days, and they took like 10 hours of film.
Wow,
so
remarkable.
Now, how about at that age? It doesn't seem like the guys who were playing video games all the time were getting the girls. What about, though, the top of the heap?
They spoke about groupies.
The guys who get sent to Iowa and who make That's Incredible for their little tournament. I got to think something came of that.
You know, this is kind of embarrassing, but there were other guys that did really well with the groupies.
Ben Gold was not one of those?
Ben Gold did not know how to convert this fame into, like, something else, if you know what I mean. So that was just, I was too much of a nerd.
The girls didn't want to hear about Cubert or anything like that?
That just wasn't the thing, you know?
Billy Mitchell probably made it work.
That he did, yeah.
He fired that mullet up and...
Yeah, those black jeans, those really tight black jeans.
Business in the front, party in the back.
Well, it's so cool to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's great to have you up here, man.
It's such a fascinating thing that it just disappeared for so long. It was such a huge part of your life.
So the home video game?
It disappeared, but then those two movies came out at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now, it's just a weird thing that you thought everything had moved on, but I guess...
Did the home video game kill the arcade? Is that what did it?
No, I think the arcades killed the arcade. They just quit making games that were appealing. They just stopped.
Well, they had to start making like the shooting game, you know, RoboCop or Time Cop or whatever, but then you could continue play with another quarter because you guys weren't helping things.
Well, also they just ran
They
ran out of ideas. I mean, in Chasing Ghosts, they did a really good part of that where, you know, you get these three-headed, you know, mummies or something fighting and kicking other people, you know, on these games or what, and it was just it was the same games recycled over and over. I mean, there were 15 different Pac-Mans and stuff.
What do you do with you say you have one boy or?
I now have two children. I have a 7-year-old and a 17-month-old.
Okay.
My 7-year-old, and he's listening right now, I'm sure.
Hey,
what's his name?
His name is David. I love him dearly, and just very, very proud of him. And
does he play too many video games?
He plays more than I'd like.
Really?
He does.
For Ben Gold,
and does that fall on
who
deaf
once
ears?
played 36 hours of consecutive Cubert to set the record, does he ever pull that out? Like, look, Dad.
Look, Pops.
He likes to listen. Like, I still have That's Incredible the actual show. And he'll sometimes like to pull that out and say, I want to see Daddy when you were playing video games. The problem is that, you know, some games, like I love the SpongeBob ones and things like that, but then there's these really weird ones that are online that he'll disappear for an hour and I'll come back and I'm like, what are you playing?
Yeah.
And he'll say, there's no blood, Daddy. No blood. Okay.
Oh, well, in that case.
So that's the rule.
That's the rule. Is I try to keep...
Dad's rule is no blood.
No blood.
Limit the blood. Limit the blood. How about what's that one that you used to
minimize
play?
the blood. What, Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
No, and there's a lot of times where, and the other thing
Keep
is,
your kid from that. All right.
No passwords. So he always asks me, can I set a username and a password? I said no passwords at least till you're 10.
That's a great policy.
Until you're 10.
Or not,
Then go for it. You can play anything.
Then we'll talk again.
You're a tough parent. I need, or we would like to have this from you. This is our wacky radio liner, and it would be nice if in that blank line you might add your name and perhaps even the. You know, if you want to add in your tagline,
superstar.
You're the Cubert King or whatever you want to call yourself, the all-time point score leader. And are you still the all-time?
Oh no, that's been slaughtered.
Oh, you don't hold
times.
Cubert anymore.
Those records all disappeared in about within a month or two.
Even Stargate.
Even Stargate.
How about one-time world champion?
But you're still like
Babe.
Babe Ruth, right? I mean, Babe Ruth's record has been passed, but we still think of him very fondly.
Totally.
You know,
We'll never forget you, Ben.
Go ahead, say your Babe Ruth.
Okay. This is hard for me, a big stretch, but let me say this. This is Ben Gold, video game world champion, and I never listened to the Bob and Dan show on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket.
Yeah!
See that?
Great success.
Hey, ladies.
Ben, a pleasure.
This is Ben.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll talk again very soon.